Now, while it's not been the greatest year for the games industry in terms of employment, it has, however, been a phenomenal year in terms of what we have been able to play. There's been a lot of games out this year to the point where I forgot that Resident Evil 4 came out this year. I forgot that Dead Space came out this year. And I love those games. They're really good. So I guess this is now the time to sort of look back and reminisce and give our own game awards to things that are actually good and that deserve attention. So, Matt, what would you give one of your things that everyone should sort of check out? Not necessarily the best game, but like what's one that you would say should be checked out regardless?
Well, I mean, the obvious one is Final Fantasy 16, right?
Aye.
That was
Very
my
good.
game. That was very much for me. It's funny actually because when I got the review code to review it, well, actually afterwards, I reviewed the thing and obviously gave it 5 stars. I absolutely love the game. I think it's a magnificent piece of blockbuster entertainment, but also smart. It was brainy. You know, it made you think. They actually had ideas and themes and stuff, which is really rare for the AAA industry these days. Anyway, I sent the link to the review saying, "Hey, this is live now," to the PR, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, we're worried how you're going to go with a blockbuster game." I have a reputation, I guess, in the PR space. So yeah, so did not
I
know
love
what I
that
would.
that's the reaction now.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
like, oh, thank God he didn't give us a one. It's like, yeah,
I imagine that it's just like a couple of PR guys sitting in a room, just like staring really intently with their hands on the sides of their heads, just
so
smoking a cigarette.
yeah, so I didn't know how I was going to go with it myself going into it, but yeah, I think I just can't think of anything that I didn't enjoy about that game. I guess enjoy is probably not entirely the right word. It goes some places which is not necessarily enjoyable at times, but I don't think there's a game that's kind of stood out for me as something that is very much what I'd like to see from video games, quite like that one. In addition to that, it's actually been a pretty good year for the big end of town with me because I was actually really happy to see Assassin's Creed make a return to form for me with Mirage, which was a relatively condensed and restrained Assassin's Creed, which didn't go stupid with the icons and the RPG mechanics and the excesses that Valhalla had. This one was just a pretty taut and tight little historical action game set in Baghdad, which was pretty interesting, and I appreciated that. It was nice to have a decent Assassin's Creed game again. And
I like that
then,
they've just made it smaller and better. I like that.
well, I hope they take some learnings from that. They probably won't because the next one will be another stupidly big, excessive one. But it was nice that they did do one that wasn't going to consume your entire year and with endless content, and you could actually just kind of move through it, finish it, and get on to the next game. And the fact they priced it as well, it was only about $70 Australian, I think, which is very kind
Very
of
cheap.
yeah, very cheap for the AAA industry in Australia these days. And it was just a good thing for Ubisoft to do, I guess. So I approve of that. And then for me, the third one would be way back at the start of the year, and I almost forgot that this got released this year, but Fire Emblem Engage was great. Absolutely love that. That was a
I completely
January.
forgot that came out.
Yep, January release. I thought it was last year, which shows just how much has been released this year. But no, it was a January release, and I really enjoyed that for similar reasons, I guess. Not that I ever thought that Fire Emblem lost it like Assassin's Creed did, but this one went back to the kind of the GBA style of Fire Emblem in terms of the way it kind of worked as a game. And yeah, it just as a fan of that series, it tapped into the nostalgia for me. So I was very happy with that one too. Those were my kind of three most memorables, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty good. Again, the thing is that so many of these things I've forgotten existed simply because it was just like the end of the year was so loaded with just extremely high quality stuff. Brad, what about you? What's your sort of like three that everyone should sort of look out for or try out?
I think the first one's going to be pretty obvious for anyone that knows me, but I'm going to say Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
I think that's quite obvious. Like it's I just expected it to be a 7 out of 10 before it came out because I just thought, oh yeah, it's just going to be same world as Breath of the Wild. It's going to have all the same stuff. There's not going to be much new in it. And then like then it came out, and just the amount of crazy stuff you could build in it, and it became a very social media oriented game. I thought, like watching other people building things and just getting ideas off each other, and it ended up being this massive thing that I just really enjoyed all the way through.
It was
The amount of Korok torture in that game.
my favorite, I guess, description of that was that like people obviously didn't have any proof, but they say that like Nintendo wishes it made Minecraft, and then Tears of the Kingdom is kind of like its answer to that, because I think that's pretty true. Like Minecraft is a game that Nintendo probably does wish they made because it is that kind of thing, and then Tears of the Kingdom has that same kind of unbound creativity about it, which is cool. I liked it too, despite never having moved off the opening plateau of Breath of the Wild. The fact I got that into Tears of the Kingdom kind of shows the difference, I guess, in quality between the two.
Yeah, and probably my second one is probably a bit of left field, but I've actually been really getting into Pokemon Sleep.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, obviously you have to collect your Pokemon and everything every time you wake up in the morning, and you feed them all biscuits, and you feed them enough biscuits and you get to collect them like you would a normal Pokemon game, and it does track your sleep pretty well. But I think the most probably creepy part of it is the fact that it has up to 10 recordings of you while you're sleeping that you can listen to after you wake up. And Sleeping Brad says some pretty weird stuff.
Now I wish it worked on like the Galaxy Folds, because like I want to listen to the crazy stuff my partner says in her sleep.
So it
So
definitely has
full
a
on.
untapped creepy factor to it.
I love that.
And
it's such a vibe.
the third one, honestly, I haven't played a lot in 2023, so it's been a pretty big backlog year for me, but that comes with having no money. But I have actually really enjoyed there's a wrestling game called AEW Fight Forever, and
Hi.
I've really enjoyed that because it's kind of a throwback to the old Nintendo 64 wrestling games like No Mercy and the WCW versus NWO games, where it's kind of like a more arcade experience. But
That's the one that Ukes made, wasn't it?
Yeah, like Ukes went from the WWE games and then went over to these guys. But it was
I think that's a nice way of putting it. Ukes got dumped from WWE, and then
Yeah.
WWE went to hell, went to absolute hell. And then Ukes was like, well, fuck you, we're going to make our own game. And it's done better, I think. People seem to like that one much more.
Yeah, that's right. And they even
Yeah.
got like the director from the old Nintendo 64 games on board just to make sure they had the feel of the old games correct, like accurate as well. So yeah, that's been a real highlight for me.
Yeah. It's just nice that people are making more niche products for people. Because
Yeah.
like I don't know how they would market a game that is like that in a more regular sense, but saying that it's like the N64 games, I'm interested like way more all of a sudden. All I need to know is, can you drive a forklift into someone's head? And then I'll be
No.
happy.
No, you cannot, but you can have an exploding barbed wire death match.
That sounds like my kind of game. I do like that a lot. Trent, what about you? What are your three that you would recommend everyone check out?
You know, well, I've been playing heaps lately, because it came out just before I went to Perth, is Gubbins. It is like the best word game. It's like Australian developed as well, which is great. And it's fun. And you get like weird, crazy creatures, and then you like can basically do things to either enhance or disadvantage you to select words. And everyone's posting memes about it right now, so that's also a pro.
I like that. I enjoy that. I need to actually, is it free?
So there's a free version, and then it gives you like a the daily, like it gives you a daily free game. Otherwise, you can pay. I think it was only like $10, $20 for like the full version, which gives you like extra modes and unlimited play, so you can go back to play previous days and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
So you should always pay the full version and support the developers. But yeah, it's really fun. It's great. So that's my first game because that's good. Yeah. And the other games, I mean, like Tears of the Kingdom is definitely a 7.5 out of 10 game, Brad. I don't know what you're on about, but let's go with like Mario Wonder. I was actually quite surprised by that. The past few 2D Mario games I actually really hated in terms of like it's just another 2D Mario, if that makes sense. Like there was definitely like a really huge Mario 2D fatigue at some point, especially with the Wii era where it's like new Super Mario. Like no one really liked that after a while. It's definitely completely different to new Super Mario, and it sort of felt a little bit more condensed in some ways, which I liked. So I was able to like go through the sections and, you know, get what I needed to defeat Bowser relatively easy. And I finished the game. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, I also love the imagination they've got in that game. I think one of the best things ever is them putting a musical level right at the start because it made me think of Rayman Legends. And
Oh yeah, Mario's definitely on LSD in this one. He's not doing mushrooms. He's doing LSD in this one. Like it's like it is intense, like these like flower like sections sometimes where it's just like Mario's now like a blob thing, or like Mario's now like a really long boy Mario, like just weird stuff like that.
I do love Long Boy Mario. That's my favorite type of Mario.
And then the elephants. The elephants are great as well.
Yeah. Pretty cute. This is a cute game. It makes me happy.
Yes.
What was your last recommendation?
Last recommendation. Oh, I have to play more than like 2 games in a year. That's not great. I'm trying to think what came out earlier in the year. What did I like earlier in the year?
There was lots of games, Trent. Lots and lots.
Yeah, there was.
Let's have a look at digitallydownloaded.net, shall we? I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good resource for these things.
Is it?
Yeah, they talk about games on that website sometimes.
They do a little bit. I'm just going to go to the game review section and then go back to the start of the year. That'll take me a little bit.
If this was like a YouTube video, it'll be like, while Matt's checking the thing, let's slap down to get some merch. Now available in the digitally downloaded store.
We have merch. Thank you for bringing that up, Trent.
Yeah,
we do sell merch. If you'd like to head to our Redbubble store and just kind of buy stuff, you're more than welcome to do that. That would be very nice.
Yeah.
I'm still scrolling back.
I mean,
you had like Resident Evil was in March, and
yeah.
So here we go. We've got stuff like in June, we had Master Detectives Archive, Raincode come out. That was like the Danganronpa like from the Danganronpa developers. That was a very good game. We had that's in June. Let's keep scrolling back. We had
It's like a lot of games this year.
Tears of the Kingdom actually came out in May. I thought it was later than
this year was one of those years where it's like after I had my appendix burst, it just like disappeared.
Recovery will do that.
Sea of Stars. Did you play Sea of Stars?
Sea of Stars. I don't think so. No.
Did you play Phasmophobia? Metroid Prime Remastered. Yeah. Did you play Future Redeemed?
I hate Metroid Prime.
Oh, there we go.
Metroid Prime's horrible.
There was a Bayonetta that came out. Bayonetta Origins. That was a
lovely yes, I did play Origins, and I like that. Yes, that will be my third. That will be my third recommendation. Yes, let's do that because it was like I haven't played the other Bayonettas, and I was like, this feels like it's completely different enough that if I don't like it, yeah, that's okay. If I do like it, then it will potentially get me into the series because it will be like an origin story, and it was fun. It was good.
It was a good little game.
And it had a really weird, unique art style for like series instead of like some sort of like AAA style graphics. Kind of remind me of UbiArt stuff.
There was what about that? Wolong came out this year too. That was an excellent.
Yeah, Wolong was great.
Yeah, it was an excellent.
Oh, you know what else came out this year? It was Exoprimal.
It did.
Exoprimal came out. That was great.
Octopath Traveler 2 came out too.
That TMNT brawler game I always forget the name of, which is fantastic. as well. Also, Theatrhythm Final Bar Line came
It
out this
did,
year.
yes, that was an excellent rhythm game. And Like a Dragon Ishin, which was one of the
Like a Dragon
better
Ishin.
Yakuza games. I love that game.
Absolutely.
Absolute masterpiece. that
Kirby's
was.
Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
Oh yes, that was
Very,
excellent
very
too.
cute video game. I mean, Resident Evil, of course, came out this year. Dead Space as well. Pixel 3, that game's pretty good.
Wait, did both Kirby games come out this year, or the other Kirby came out last year?
That was last year, I believe. I think.
I
God,
mean,
there was so much stuff.
Resident Evil 4, which I know was one of Alan's top games of the year, was a pretty good game.
Yeah, it probably is
enjoyed
one of
it
my top
enough.
games of the year. I really,
enjoyed
really
it
liked that
heaps.
game.
Obviously, Atelier Ryza. 2 Atelier games. We had a Ryza, and then we had a remake of the very first
Live a
one, which
Live
was
came out
great.
this
It was
year?
great. It did. Good grief! What a year!
I know.
What-
I
And I
mean,
really like.
All of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters got console
Ah,
releases
yes.
too.
and
the-
40k Bolt Gun, the Doom clone.
Oh, that was so good fun. Even as somebody who doesn't really
Yeah.
like first-person shooters, that one was a blast. That was great.
The System Shock remake as well, which was really, really cool.
I mean, the art style of it wasn't great, but Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot was great, especially in multiplayer. Like, I wasn't a fan of the art style, but I absolutely loved the game itself in playing that with my brothers.
Street Fighter 6
Great.
came out.
Oh, it did too.
It did. It was really good.
What a
Layers
year.
of Fear, an awful game.
Not for you, I know.
No,
Not
terrible.
an Alan game. Not an Alan game.
16 FF16, of course. We had Dave the Diver, which is apparently a fantastic game. I know nothing about it. Axiom Verge
Lord of the
2,
Rings Gollum.
that came out. That monkey game, King Kong Skull Island. That
came out.
monkey game.
Apparently, RoboCop's quite good.
I've heard it's
I've
an
heard
aggressive
RoboCop's
like
quite good
7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I've heard it's quite good fun.
Remnant 2 came out this year. That game is really fun. Baldur's Gate 3, of course, which is probably my game of the year because, oh boy, for a story-focused game, I've spent like 200 hours in it. And that's beyond me.
Pikmin 4, which nobody's mentioned yet.
Armored Core? That came
Armored
out?
Core, which nobody... Yeah, that was actually pretty good fun. That
Yeah.
kind of came
Yeah.
in.
We had Lies of P. I don't know if that was any good, but
Liza P was really good.
No, it was
Yeah.
terrible.
No, it was great.
I didn't like Liza P, I must admit. But I know a lot of other people did, so I'll give it to them.
I really like it
that.
because it's more Bloodborne-y and more what's the other FromSoft ninja game? FromSoft ninja
Tenchu.
game.
Tenchu.
Not Tenchu. What's the other one they recently
Oh,
did?
Sekiro.
Sekiro, yeah. Starfield came out this year, which no one gave a single shit about.
Well, the other thing was there was a lot of visual novels that were excellent too. Anonymous Code came out. Jacques Jean came out. These are all very good visual novels. It was a good year for visual novels overall.
Oh,
That's
didn't
not much for Alan, but
Final
it's good.
Fantasy 7 the prequel game, didn't that come out this year as well? Or is that last year?
No, that was 2 years ago, I think.
Oh, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 came out this year. Like the
It did.
HD remakes.
It did.
No one talked about that. MK1's apparently really, really good as well.
And there was also MK1 is actually pretty good. I got that on Switch. I just never got around to reviewing it. It is pretty decent. Although I'm
Yeah.
disappointed because it doesn't have the right characters. But yeah. For me, unfortunately for me now, Mortal Kombat's been ruined because which one was it that had like all of the horror icon or action movie?
Oh, that was
icons? Like,
X. X
it
is
had-
so good.
It had like Terminator and Freddy and RoboCop and it just had.
Freddy
all
was
those-
9. 10
Freddy was 9.
was
Oh,
all horror icons.
Jason. It had Jason.
Yeah, Jason, who was just the best grappler in the series. I love
And
playing as him.
RoboCop. It had RoboCop. That was the best one. I like that.
RoboCop was 11, wasn't it?
Was he?
Yeah, because he was a gun. They were all guns in 11 for some reason. Yeah.
Anyway, overall, good year for games.
Yeah, extremely good year for games. I think, honestly,
lot of good
everyone
games.
should play Baldur's Gate. Everyone play
Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate
Gate.
by itself is like 130 hours of gameplays too. It's a ridiculous.
That's if you only do one run and you're not interested in the characters or side quests, which you will be because I wasn't, and then I stopped being such a
I
sad.
mean, I'm not such a huge fan of all the characters. There are better characters from those kinds of games than in Baldur's Gate 3, except for Gale. Gale's my boy.
I'd see. I love Gale, but I think he's an idiot.
Gale,
I
oh,
don't
he is.
like
That's
him.
the point. That's why he's great. He is an idiot. That's what's really cool about him.
He's the most Melbourne coded man of all time. Like he lives in Fitzroy.
It's so true. It's so true. When he teleports in at the start of the game, it's just because he's actually
Hello?
teleported in.
I need
from
a bit of a
Melbourne.
Yeah. He's just coming in from like bimbos on Nicholson Street.
Yeah,
Oh, Alan
Gale's
Wake 2
so
came out
cool.
this year.
It did.
Bloody hell. Apparently that game's really, really good.
And I know it's probably not for this group here, but Football Manager had
No,
the
that's the
biggest,
game I'd like.
it had the biggest update as far as I'm concerned in like years and years, because it brought the Japanese league into the game for the first time.
That's cool.
So I can
Cool.
finally play as my favorite team, my team over in Japan.